Hi and welcome back today. Today on the sheath that I just got through making, I left this knife in it overnight, and it sucked it up pretty tight. Right up when it finished curing, it pulled it, done exactly what I wanted it to do. It molded the knife handle in the knife blank. It sucked in there pretty tight, leaving it like it was. And so I said it really wasn't wet when I put it up, but it still needed for everything to seep in, and what wasn't fully penetrated in there went down in there. And then overnight it through the lambskin liner, it let all the moisture, any moisture that was trapped in here, let it go. And when it let go, wet or damp leather will shrink as it gets dry. That's the reason I put the knife in. If I hadn't, there wouldn't have been no way I could have put this in without cutting. Well, I could have, but it would have been tough, a whole lot tougher than this. So I've done that. I've worked it and softened it up some, and I've got it hanging over here now. So I made up my mind last night that I was going to change handles on this. This is an elk antler, but it's thin and it's down to the core, the inner structure of it right there, which is epoxy impregnated all through it. So it's not going to be nothing's going to happen to it because it's stabilized with pure epoxy in there. But I decided that it's just a little bit bigger than what I wanted, and it's a little smooth. So I sacrificed another piece of elk antler that was, I don't know, probably a foot long maybe, and I had to cut this out of the middle of it to get it. And so the one end of it had a crook in it, so I had to cut it off. Then I cut it to length, which didn't leave much out there, so I wound up, I've got 3 pieces of that antler left, or 2 pieces left, excuse me. A piece off the front and the back. And I took this to the bandsaw, or not bandsaw, flip, I ain't got a bandsaw. Took it to the table saw and trimmed it up. Now I'm going to have to go through and file a little bit there because it's a little rough, and getting it thinned down. I missed a little bit there. I measured to the wrong side of the blade. Moron, I guess. That's all I can figure is that I just missed it. I just missed the wrong side of the blade, and it was the blade too thick. So I put the fence against the blade and got it right at it where it wouldn't just clear. Then I put it on there. It kind of jumped around a little bit, and I got the end of it. Got a little bulb, right, a little spot that didn't get cut. So I have to learn to get on down in my bifocals there, I guess. So right now my belt grinder is down. It's not, well, it's not down. I mean, I can use it. It just don't have a table or a platen on it right now. So I think I'll just do it on a slack, and since it don't have the table and platen on there, that'd be a slack belt, and that would do a little bit better. So I think I'll take this out there and grind this down, grind the pin right there where the pins are, and on both sides. It get hot and it'll fry the epoxy. Hopefully I'll be able to chisel it off or sand it off here. When I get that done, I'll come back in here and turn this on. It's raining right now, or I'd take you with me. I just don't want to get my cameras out. Both of them's in here, and I don't feel like sticking them under a wing or to do anything with. So that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go grind these off, and I'll come right back. Okay, I made it back in. I didn't take just a minute or two. That's the first time I'd ever used, quote unquote, a slack belt, and it's kind of scary there for a minute or two. Had it jerked out of my hand a couple of times, but it didn't go nowhere. I mean, it just fell right in the water bucket. So now let's see. There it is. I've got my punch here. I'm gonna run through now. The antler had sucked up so much epoxy to the capillary actions of the marrow in the antler, and I don't have a piece of it laying here. Wish I did. It looks just like a sponge. Looks like a kind of favors a loofah, kinda. It does, but it don't. It's a sponge, and it sucked out. Just there was still plenty of glue contact, but say, for instance, around my dog paw pen right there, around both areas of it was had a hole around it where the had sucked all that epoxy up into it, up into that part of it right there. I figured it would some. That's the reason I slathered it good when I put it together. And I've done so many, it's hard to remember them all how they do, but I remember I laid it to it though completely. So the biggest thing now is I'm gonna find my little board, and I'm gonna try to do a little bit of hand sanding, take it real easy so I can hand sand this handle. Then when I get the hand sanding that in the back, everything, I'll take it over and I'll wash it down real good, clean it, got some acetone over, and I'll re-etch the whole thing, the whole shooting match, and that way it's got a line in it. And people's looked at it and said, "Oh, that knife's got a crack in it." And I said, "Well, it's got one on the corresponding other side right there." And I showed them the line that was on the handle around there. I said, "I dipped it into ferric chloride with a handle on it, and because I didn't think it hurt the bone, but it turned it a little darker right there." So, and then when I sanded it back, you know, it kind of done its thing there. So anyway, well, I've got, like I said, I've got these to clean out here. So let me find my hand sanding rig, and I'll get it all clamped up, and we'll come back and I'll get started on it. I'll have to clamp it. I've got tape. I'll put tape on it since I'm not gonna be really, don't want to etch anything on or scratch the blade anyway without having to hand sand the whole thing. So put the tape on it, and I do that, and that will allow me to clamp it without scratching it. I've got leather that I'll use for backing on it. Got that one piece of leather glued to it, which I may need to do a little bit more, but anyway, you need to re-glue some. But I got a pad I can put on top of this, so a couple of them, so that the little toggle clip don't mess with it Oh, I thought that's coming up here. Sounded like it. So that means if it sounds like it, it means it's rained hard enough that it's washed some of the gravel off my driveway and down the darn pavement down through there. So I'll have to go get my tractor and a scrape blade and pull it back up through there. Anyway, joyous living in the mountains because it's never ending cycle with driveway maintenance. Alright, I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, I've got the my little hand sanding apparatus here clamped up in a little swiveling vise, and so while it was on my mind there a few minutes ago, or not a few minutes ago, it's probably an hour or so ago now, that it could probably stand to have some new leather put on it. So I had the leather, and it's raining and muddy, so evidently I got the time, and I can't swing the hammer or do much of anything else strenuous wise, so might as well catch up on the little maintenance items that I need. You know, I actually done something, you know, there was a miracle happened in here. Yes, I found out that there was actually a floor in here. Yeah. So I kind of cleaned it up. I can walk around now, take more than 2 or 3 steps without tripping over everything. So I had boxes and everything, and tools and stuff scattered around there and piled up right there. So I moved some of them and actually tore a bunch of boxes up and found a bunch of junk I just needed to throw away, so I did. It was the bad junk was hiding under the good junk. So go figure. I'm a pack rat. And mule. And then goats out there sound like mules in a barn. They're just bouncing everything. So that's what I done. But it's been probably an hour since I turned the camera off. So, and I'm letting this place air out. I've been huffing glue, not in a good way. It's okay. Now, what I did right there, I put the new leather on it, is these was the quickest things I had to help hold that leather up right there, or to hold even pressure on it, was 2 rulers, a 15-inch and a 12-inch. Which actually this one's 16 something, this one's 13 something altogether. The straight edge part of it is. So, and they keep telling us that 30 centimeters is 12 inches. It's not. It's a little short. It's about a 1/4 of an inch short. Well, 3/16 of an inch short. So it's probably 30 or 350 millimeters. That'd probably be more like it. Yeah, probably 350 millimeters. Alright. So, also, I made a little hold down pad. It's 2 pieces glued together. I thought about lacing, sewing it, but and the only reason I'd sew it is because there's a piece of brass inside of it. So it's a small piece. Well, it's not a small piece. It's probably an inch square or better right there. So that will give me plenty of a hold down. And that little brass plate in there will keep it moving around. So that'd be good. Keep it held down real good. So there we go. Lay that right there, and I may have to adjust this. Right there. Yep, it's gonna have to be adjusted. That's not gonna do it. It's not 9/16, it's 1/2 inch. This spline wrench is sure hold on to it. Oh, I'm gonna do it again. I don't like it tight. I'll do this a couple of dozen times. Get hurt for not having it secured, because it is sharp. I didn't dull it. I'll put a strap on it after I get done with it. I got it. I like it tight, so. All right. If I ain't mistaken, I think all of these is, all of this one's hardened all the way. So, what did I do? There it is. And I need to do something else with it. Okay. Yeah, it's 8670. I stamped most of them on, and it's 8670M. It's got it stamped there on the tang. I don't do them all, but usually I do when I do a bunch of them. And I'm mixing steels. Oh, one, I found that I don't have to mark, because I can tell what it is new and later on is it's older, because it has a grain pattern that's visible in it, if you can believe that, or I can see it anyway. And whether it does or whether it don't for somebody else, I don't know, but it does for me. Seems to. So. My pocket, didn't it? Yep. Hands sore from sewing yesterday, so there is statistics out there on how many people, left-handed people, get hurt each year for trying to use right-handed tools, which 99.9% of all tools and guns, stuff like that, are made right-handed. And there's quite a, the world's getting a lot fuller of left-handed people, but my granddaughter being one. My oldest son is kind of ambidextrous on it, but he has to shoot left-handed, so it's quite a proficient shot left-handed. He was I probably told this before, but he was a forceps baby. They had to use forceps to get him out, and the doctor messed up his face a little bit. He looked like Popeye. All he needed after he was born for a few days, he didn't put that little cap on it, like a little sailor's cap, to put on him, and he was his eyes was messed up. If he closes his left eye, the right eye follows it. But if he closes his right eye, his left eye will stay open. So I don't know what they done or what the doctor done to him. Doc's dead now, so anyway, that was, God, 40 years ago, wasn't it? He'll be 40, 39 years. So. Alright, I'm going to carry on with this, and I'll come back when I get the other side kind of sanded and all this stuff knocked off, and I'll knock these pins out, and I'm pretty sure they're just in a chamfered hole right there, so that they'll go through. So I'll be back in a bit.